I'm pretty pissed off, and here's why. Is red dye number 40 different than red dye number 3? Here's what to know after the FDA ban, because in my opinion, it is no different. And in fact, red dye number 3 is in, how many products? I don't know, maybe like 5. Red number 40 is in countless. And yes, that includes Froot Loops, Lucky Charms, Pop-Tarts, all these things, different candies. And guess what? They don't have to change a single ingredient or a single formulation because red dye number 40 trumps red number 3 by 10,000. Oh my goodness, that is a chemtrail. What do you know? Okay, sorry, I'm just looking out my window here. This is the Digestives podcast, and I'm your host, Bethany Cameron. Let's get right into the episode. All right, I'm sure you've heard recently the Food and Drug Administration announced that food companies in the US have until January 15th, 2027 to rid their products of red dye number 3. Note, drug manufacturers have until January 18th, 2028. So, due to the controversy surrounding the artificial food coloring, including evidence that high doses of the color additive have been linked to cancer in rats, many manufacturers are expected to continue using the FDA-approved artificial dyes, such as red dye number 40, because that is not banned and is still FDA approved. What do you know? So, is red dye 40 safe? Let's take a deeper look. First of all, let's take a look at the difference. So how is red dye 40 different than red dye 3, which, by the way, is the one that was previously or recently banned? Red dye 40 is still considered, quote, safe. So while the artificial food dye red dye 3 and red dye 40, which you also may see listed as red 40, they're both derived from petroleum. In fact, most artificial colors are. Red dye 40 has already become a popular choice among food manufacturers. While there are similarities in these two dyes, the synthetic colorings are a tad different. One key difference lies in its chemical composition. Jacqueline Bowen is the executive director of the Clean Label Project, which is a food and consumer safety nonprofit company. She says red dye number 3 is an iodine-based compound, which is believed to contribute to its effect on thyroid function. This iodine content makes it chemically distinct from other widely used synthetic dyes, such as red 40, which do not pose the same targeted risks to the thyroid. But you guys, that's just pertaining to the thyroid specifically. What about all the other organs and aspects of your body, and how are these other dyes affecting them? That's my personal concern. That's like getting rid of a certain pesticide being sprayed on your produce, but they're still spraying with 10 other pesticides. It doesn't make sense getting rid of one artificial dye, but not the other. Again, that's just my opinion. Similar to red dye 3, red dye 40 is commonly found in sodas, condiments, candy, desserts, dairy products, cereals, and so much more. May I also add, red dye 40 is often combined with aluminum to create red 40 lake, which is a non-water soluble form ideal for products like chewing gum. So a lot of you know, back in October, I announced that I was dealing with mold in my lungs, and I have a huge team on my side, tons of different types of doctors, holistic, mold experts. I have Western medicine, Eastern medicine, and one of the mold experts that I am currently working with told me when we first met about all the different things to start taking to support the detox process of the mold. And one of them was actually Element, specifically Element. She said you need to get your electrolytes in, your magnesium, your salts, your potassium, and she wanted to make sure that I was doing an electrolyte drink mix every single day, despite if I was sweating, working out, etc. And so I was like, well, I already take that. So So I just thought that it was super cool to have someone holistic in my corner recommending Element. I personally take the unflavored. They have tons of other flavors to choose from. I just love the unflavored. It's just simple. 3 ingredients, nothing else, no stevia, no natural flavors. So all that to say is I highly recommend trying Element. If you use my code DIGEST at checkout, or you can go to DRINKLMNT.com/digest, you'll get 8 free packs to try. And if you don't like it, hey, guess what? You can give it away to a friend and they'll refund your money for whatever you purchased. No questions asked. So I feel like you have nothing to lose. Again, go to DRINKLMNT.com/digest. So because the FDA did not ban Red 40, is it safe? Well, despite its widespread use, many food safety advocates have raised concerns about the presence of Red 40 in the US food system, similar to Red Dye 3 and other synthetic food dyes. Vanessa Rizzetto, who is the co-founder of the virtual nutrition care service Colina Health, says Red 40 is considered somewhat healthier than Red Dye 3 because no carcinogenic concerns have been raised about it. However, the use and effects of these food dyes have not been rigorously evaluated in years. It just baffles my mind that cancer has to be the deciding factor when considering the safety effects food dyes can possess. Red dye number 40 was approved by the FDA in the 1970s and is one of the 9 certified color additives permitted for use in food. However, in recent years, concerns have grown over its potential safety risks, including allergies and possible links to behavioral issues in children. But according to authorities, more research is needed. Excuse me, more research is needed? There is plenty of evidence and studies showcasing the effects of Red Dye 40, specifically among other artificial dye colors, that these dyes are causing behavioral disturbances in children, ADHD, and in mice. They cause DNA damage, colonic inflammation, and impacts the microbiome. The FDA even acknowledges that while the current research indicates that most children don't experience adverse behavioral effects when consuming foods containing Red Dye 40, some evidence suggests that certain children may be sensitive to it. You mean like ADHD? Thankfully, California is already taking action with a law banning public schools in the state from serving foods containing artificial dyes, including Red Dye number 40. This is set to take effect in 2027, so we still have 2 years to go. Thankfully, consumers and my listeners, such as you, are drawn to clean label options, but labels still make it tricky with alternative names. Even worse, numbers and letters, such as the term E129, which in fact is the same thing as Red Dye 40. So if you see the term E129, that is also Red 40. Sneaky, right? So which foods contain Red Dye 40? So due to long-lasting pushback and controversial health studies surrounding the ingredient, many processed food manufacturers have already shifted away from using Red Dye 3, opting instead for Red Dye 40. So here's a short list of some foods that currently contain Red 40. Brax peppermint candy canes, the M&Ms, obviously, strawberry whole milk, red vine licorice, Hershey's, Twizzlers, red velvet cake mix, Starburst fruit chews, canned or jarred red cherries, canned fruit cocktail, different types of water enhancers, certain Peep marshmallows, certain Hershey's chocolate kisses, Captain Crunch cereal, and many other cereals like Froot Loops, Lucky Charms, and even certain Cheerio flavors. The infamous Doritos as well contain this dye and so much more. I literally could go on and on. So all of these products I literally just listed do not contain red 3, which is, again, the one that was banned recently. They all contain red 40. So really, they do not need to change anything. If you are concerned about red food colorings or any synthetic food dyes, you can opt for brands choosing to naturally color their products using ingredients like beets, spirulina, turmeric, and so on. But one of the most impactful changes you can make is to prioritize a diet rich in whole, real foods over ultra-processed ones. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts by giving this podcast a 5-star rating and expressing your opinion about the FDA banning red 3, but not red 40 ban in your review. So just share that. Or if you're listening to this podcast on my YouTube, you can share your thoughts in the comment section. Whatever podcast app you're listening to, I want to hear from you. So if you are passionate about this topic, share it with a friend and post it on your Instagram stories and tag me at Little Sipper, LILSIPPER. Thanks for supporting my mission by doing these simple, free gestures. They truly do go a long way. I know this was short, but it was definitely spicy. See you guys next time. Thanks for listening to this episode of Digest This. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review in your podcast app to let us know. If you're ever wondering how you can support me and this podcast, sharing it with your friends and family is the best way. This is a Wellness Loud production produced by Drake Peterson and edited by Mike Fry. To check out more shows by my team, go to wellnessloud.com, and to email the show, message us at digestthispod@gmail.com. See you next time. The content of this show is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for individual medical and mental health advice and does not constitute a provider-patient relationship. As always, talk to your doctor or health team first.